In this video we're going to crochet this cute filet mesh sweatshirt. For this project I used fine weight 100% cotton yarn. It's from Little Things World. I really love this yarn because it gives the finished piece this beautiful flowy drape. I also used a 3mm hook, and for my excess size I used 750 grams skeins of this yarn. As always, you can find a free written pattern through the link in the description. It includes all the charts, all the tables for all the sizes. And before we start, I have to ask you to give this video a thumb up, leave any comment down below so I can continue making these free tutorials for you. And let's get to the crocheting part. So the construction is very easy. In the base of it will be 4 rectangles: the front, the back, and the 2 sleeves. On the front and on the back panel we will add a couple of rows that will form our neckline, and let's start with the back panel. So make the first chain. I do it like that. Then we need to chain the width of our panel. For the front and for the back it will be the same number. To chain we make a yarn over and pull the yarn through the loop on the hook. And again, yarn over and pull the yarn through the loop on the hook. These are 2 chains already. So choose your size and chain the needed amount of chains. When you chain the needed number, place the marker on the last stitch that you've made. Then chain 6. Then I turn the chain, and I will be working in these bumps right here. Now I need to make a double crochet into the 3rd chain from the marker. I yarn over and find the 3rd chain, which we did chain with the marker as the first one, and I make a double crochet into the 3rd chain. Then I make 2 chains, yarn over, and make a double crochet, skipping 2 chains again. 1, 2, and into the 3rd I make a double crochet again. You see how I'm taking only the bumps and work a regular double crochet. Then 2 chains again, and a double crochet into the 3rd chain, and this will be the pattern for our whole project. And I go like that, 2 chains and a double crochet into the 3rd chain from the previous one until the end of the row, and I will meet you there. And I'm at the end of the row. If you counted everything correctly, you will also end this row on a double crochet into the last stitch of the chain. Like that. And this is how our first row will look like. Now let's get to the 2nd row, and to start every new row I will be chaining 5. Then turn the work and make a double crochet into a double crochet from the previous row. And here I will be taking not only these 2 loops like we normally do, but also taking this bar right here, and I insert the hook right under it, like that. It's a little bit harder than usual, but this way our rows will be straight and these cells will be more even. Then 2 chains, and again a double crochet into the next double crochet of the previous row. And every time I insert the hook the way I showed you, and I go to the end of the row like that. I'm at the end of the row, and to make the last cell here I chain 2, and in these 5 chains I find the 3rd one from the last double crochet that we made. right here. I insert the hook right into the chain and make a double crochet. And we already see our mesh pattern. And just like that, we will go the needed amount of rows. You see the table on the screen. We just work in turning rows, and then I will show you how to make a neckline for the back part. So I already crocheted the needed amount of rows. It will look like something like that. And I already made one shoulder here. It's only 4 rows. And here is the neckline. On the neckline we simply do the decreases, and we should mirror that on the other shoulder. So somehow I lost this video for the back part, but it doesn't matter because the only difference is the amount of rows that we need to make. So when you start working the shoulders, the first shoulder you will be able to make without cutting the yarn, and the second shoulder you will need to attach the yarn. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna attach the yarn at the corner cell right here into the third chain. I just attach it with 2 knots. And I start the row as usual. Insert the hook into the place where I touched the yarn and make 5 chains. And here it doesn't matter if you attach the yarn or if you continue without cutting the yarn. I just start a new row as usual. And I work the amount of cells from this table, and I will meet you there. I work 19 cells because I work size excess, and I'm going to make a decrease. I don't make 2 chains, I just make a double crochet into the next double crochet of the previous row, like that. You see how this diagonal slope formed? This is the decrease. I turn the work, and I will make a slip stitch into this double crochet. I insert the hook, take the yarn, pull it through, and through the loop on the hook, like that. Then I chain 3 to make another decrease here, and make a double crochet into the next double crochet of the previous row. Just like that, we made 2 decreases. We decreased 2 cells, and then I continue in our regular pattern, 2 chains and a double crochet, and I go like that to the end of the row. On the outer edge, I don't change anything. I work as usual. I finish the row as usual. Don't make any decreases, and start the new row also as usual. Make 5 chains and begin this row with full cell. And I go in pattern to our neckline, and there we will do another decrease. And I'm close to the neckline. I make the last cell here. I leave this one full cell to decrease it. I do exactly the same as I did before. I don't make 2 chains, I just work a double crochet, turn the work, make a slip stitch right into this double crochet, then chain 3 and make a double crochet, and then I will continue to the end of the row. And just like that, we will be doing our shoulders, working straight rows but decreasing only on the neckline. For the back part, you need to make this amount of rows like that, and when you do that, your back part should look something like this. Now we can move to the front part. We started the same way as the back part. We make the same number of chains and we work this amount of rows from this table. After that, we are ready to start forming our star. For that, you will need to find your chart in the file. Link is in the description. You need to take your chart for your size. It will look something like that. You already worked this empty space on the bottom. In the chart, all the squares, all the cells equal to the cells we make in our pattern, and empty cells are our regular cells, 2 chains and a double crochet, and a filled cell is gonna be 2 double crochets instead of 2 chains. So we're going to start from the right side of the chart and we will move to the left in the first row. So find on the chart the first row where we will make the first filled cells and find how many squares are there before the filled one. Count it and work this exact number of empty cells as we did before. 2 chains and double crochets. Okay, work the needed amount of cells and my next cell is going to be filled one. I don't do chains in this space, I just work 2 double crochets. Yarn over, insert the hook right into the cell, make a double crochet and make another one. Then I make a double crochet in our regular place into the double crochet of the previous row. And this is how the filled cell will look like. Now I need to make several empty cells again. And again, following the chart, I need to make 1 filled cell. I do it the same way, 2 double crochets into this empty space here, and a double crochet into a double crochet of the previous row, like that. Then I go to the end of the row just with empty cells. I am finishing this row. Start the new row as usual with 5 chains, turn the work, and I go to the next filled cell with our regular pattern. In the second row, I will be going from the left to the right of the chart. I work this space of empty cells, and here's my second row of the star a little bit closer. You see how some of the cells are half filled, and what does that mean? For example, the second row I go from the left to the right, and that means that I will work this cell 1 chain and 1 double crochet, and the double crochet I will make closer to the next cell. And because here right under this cell that I'm working right now is already a filled cell, I work directly into the double crochet of this previous row. Then I work double crochet into the double crochet of the previous row, following our cells pattern, and then I work a full filled cell as normal. Then I have the space of empty cells again, and I work it. And now I have a filled cell first. I work it as before. And a half filled cell. But now I'm going to make first the double crochet closer to this edge of the cell. Then I chain 1 and make a double crochet into a double crochet of the previous row, following the cell pattern. It will look like that. and I continue with empty cells to the end of the row. And just like that, I will be working all these rows following the star pattern in the chart. So the odd rows we work from right to the left, and even rows we work from left to the right. If you have the opportunity, I recommend printing it out so you can mark the rows that you already finished and continue like that to the end of the star. When you finished all the rows with the star, you need to make 2 more rows in our regular pattern, and it's the same for every size. And then you can start working shoulder rows. It's gonna be the same I explained to you on the back part. Just use this table for the front panels. So in the first row of the shoulder, you need to make this amount of full cells, and the next cell after this you will decrease as I showed you. And here on the front part, we will work just more rows than on the back part. How many exactly you see in the table. The sleeves are probably the easiest part. It's just rectangles of the same pattern that we did on the panel. To make it, use this table. For example, if you make in size XS, you need to chain 102 chains and work 60 rows. For all the sizes, we work 60 rows. The difference only in our width of the sleeve, and to check yourself, there is also a width in the table and it's in cells. So in the size XS, it's gonna be 34 cells. And now let's connect all our parts together. This is how the back panel looks like and the front panel. The amount of cells left for the shoulders on the back panel and the front panel should be the same. I placed them one on top of another, and they don't have a right and a wrong side, so we don't have to worry about that. We need to connect these 4 points together. I use pins for that. I take a pin, insert it right into the double crochet, and connect it with a double crochet on the back panel. And I'll join like that all the points that should meet. And these shoulder points too. We will join this panel starting from the outer side of the shoulder. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take these loose ends that's left from crocheting, and first I will tie them together. Then I will take the longer one and I will start crocheting with it. I insert the hook right into the right top corner of the cell on the front and on the back panel. I take the yarn over, pull it through, and make a single crochet. Then I will start connecting both panels with single crochets. On the cells, I insert the hook right into the cell and make 2 single crochets. And where the double crochet is located, I insert the hook right into the double crochet, right into the stitch. And connect them both with a single crochet. Then again 2 single crochets connecting the front and the back cell. And a single crochet into the double crochet on the front and on the back panel. And I'll go like that to the end of the shoulder. At some point the loose end I was working with ran out, so I tied a new piece of yarn to it. And I finish it with chain 1. I cut the yarn and pull tight. This is how our seam should look like, all the cells aligned with each other. Then turn the work and repeat the same on the second shoulder. And when both panels connected together, we can connect the sleeves. So take the sleeve, fold it in half, so every cell meets another, and find this one middle double crochet and mark it with a marker. Then I will take that sleeve, join this marker to the seam that we made as well, like that, And then I just try to straighten it out a little bit without stretching it. Then I take another marker and counting right from the seam, I will count this amount of cells. For the size XS, it's 22 cells. And 22nd cell, I will attach with a marker to the last cell of the sleeve. And then I'll take another marker and I connect somewhere in the middle. Here I don't have exact points. And on the back part I will do the same. 22nd cell on the back and the last cell of the sleeve, and somewhat middle points as well. And all the most important points are connected now. And what's left for us is to go with a single crochet and connect all the pieces together. We will start at the bottom, connecting the front and the back panels together. Then we will move towards the underarm. Then we will switch, connecting the front panel and the sleeve. Then we move to the back panel and the sleeve. Then we meet here and finish with connecting the sleeve. I already joined the yarn and I will join this part from the bottom to the underarm almost the same way as we did on the shoulder seams. The only difference is that we will make only one single crochet into a cell. On the shoulders we made 2 single crochet into a cell, and now we will make only one. So I make a single crochet into a cell, then I join the double crochet with the double crochet of the back panel. I join them with single crochet and move to the next cell, joining it with a single crochet again. Then the next double crochets, and just like that to the underarm. And here I am right under the arm. I already joined the last cells of the body. I take off the marker and I will join this exact edge of the last cell to the first cell of the sleeve. I join it with a slip stitch. And now it's gonna be a little tricky because we have different amount of cells on the sleeve and on the body that we need to connect. So we can't do like cell to cell anymore. We need to improvise a little bit. The main goal for it to look decent. So because there on the body will be a little bit more cells than on the sleeve. Sometimes I skip a couple of stitches on the body, but I use all the stitches on the sleeve, if that makes sense. So I'm moving a little bit faster on the body, but keep the same speed on the sleeve. That is why we needed this center marker, so we can see that we're going the right speed for the body and the sleeve, and that they align. And I go like that around the whole sleeve. The points we connected with markers should meet. This is what it should look like. This shoulder seam should meet the double crochet that we've marked. And let's move to the sleeve. I take the yarn off the hook, I insert the hook right into the first cell, then into the first cell from the other side of the sleeve. Then I take the yarn back on the hook, pull a little bit. I pull it through the cell, then I chain 1, and I will continue connecting the sleeve the same way I did with the body. I join all the double crochets with single crochet, and also I join cells also with single crochet. And I will go like that to the end of the sleeve. And I'm already at the end of the sleeve. I'm connecting the last cells of the sleeve. And now I want to make an edging. It's optional, but I like to do that because it gives this finished professional look. I'm going to do that the same way I did with joining. So I make a chain and I will go into every cell making single crochet, and also in every double crochet also making single crochet there. So into cell and into a double crochet. And here I don't join anything anymore, I just go like that around the sleeve. When I meet the seam again, I insert the hook right into it and make a last single crochet there. Then I join the beginning of this row to the end. I insert the hook into the very first single crochet that I made and connect it with slip stitch. Then I make chain 1 and go the second row, and now insert the hook into every single crochet of the previous row, and I continue working in single crochets, and the second row will be the last row of my edging. This is what our seams should look like from the outside, nice and clean. And now let's make an edging on the neckline. This part is crucial for me because this what gives this sweatshirt this finished professional look. I attach the yarn right into the shoulder seam. I insert the hook there. I pull the yarn and join in just with 2 knots. Then I insert the hook again, pull the yarn, and go a row of single crochets along the whole neckline. Here I don't have the exact points where I insert the hook, or I can't tell you the exact number of single crochets that you should make. Just go along the row. Just try to make it even so the neckline doesn't stretch or the opposite way scrunch up. I made the row of single crochets. Now the most interesting part, how we're going to imitate this ribbon look. I chain 5. This is the hair of my edging. Then I make one more chain. I insert the hook into the second chain from the hook. I take the yarn, pull it through the loop and through the loop on the hook. Then I insert the hook into the next chain and do the same. And I continue like that with all the chains. And the last chain, I insert the hook, take the yarn, pull it through and pull it through the loop on the hook. Now we need to connect it to our row of single crochets. I insert the hook into the next single crochet, take the yarn, pull it through the loop on the hook and turn the work. Here I don't make a turning chain, I immediately start into the second stitch from the hook. I insert the hook only into the back loop of the stitch, take the yarn, pull it through and pull through the loop on the hook. Then into the next stitch, also taking only the back loop, and I will go like that to the end of the row. It's a little bit hard for me because I pulled too tight, and my recommendation for you is to make it as loose as possible so it's easier to work. The last stitch on the free edge I make into the both loops of the stitch. Then I chain 1, turn the work, insert the hook into the second stitch from the hook, also taking only back loop of the stitch, and go like that down to the neckline. This last stitch close to the neckline is very easy to lose, so I recommend counting so not to forget it. And again I join to the neckline. I insert the hook into the single crochet on the neckline, take the yarn, pull it through and pull through the loop on the hook, then turn the work and repeat everything that I've shown you. I also alternate the amount of stitches that I join in the neckline. I've shown you how I join 1, now let me show you how I join 2. So I make the last slip stitch, I insert the hook into the first single crochet, take the yarn, pull it Immediately insert the hook into the next single crochet, take the yarn and pull it, and this last loop I will pull through both left loops on the hook, 1 and 2, and just like that I joined 2, and I alternate joining 2 single crochets, and next 2 times I join 1 single crochet, so it goes like 1 1 2 1 1 2, and I go like that across the whole neckline. So I work like that across the whole neckline. This is what it should look like, and now I need to join these 2 ends. So I place it like that. I took the yarn off the hook, and now I have these 2 rows of stitches next to each other, and I need to connect these loops of the stitches together with slip stitches. I make 1 chain. I insert the hook into the front loop of the stitch that's closer to me, and into the back loop of the stitch that's far from me. I put the yarn on the hook and pull it through these both loops. Then I move to the next stitch. Again, take here the front loop and there the back loop. Take the yarn and pull it through these both loops and through the loop on the hook. Then work the next stitch, and just like that all the stitches down to the neckline. This is what it should look like from the outside. When I'm done, I cut the yarn, make 1 chain, and weave the end. This is what our neckline should look like. It should stretch but keep its shape. And at this point our sweatshirt is finally finished. Tag me when you made yours.